yesterday. And I understand you signed up twice more. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, right.
She should. It was fantastic.
Welcome, everybody. It's nice to be back. Sorry I missed you yesterday. I was with my mother-in-law. She had a surgical procedure and everything worked out well. And I did miss you yesterday. So I tried to stream from the doctor's office and it wasn't on Facebook. So Rabbi she did record it for me, and I will, as I said to Audrey, I will pay attention and watch it later. It's nice to see all of you. It's nice to be back. We are going to mute everyone. And I know Rabbi is teaching today, and I'm not sure, I'm going to let.
Oh, sorry. I was muting everybody, as you told me. Oh, you have to unmute yourself, Debbie.
I just said I'm turning it over to Rabbi.
Okay, sorry about that. Good to have you, sorry. And there was a lot of static, so that's why once you said muting, I started it. And we are streaming today, which is good. I still wonder if it's those days when my son is home from school and it's virtual learning and that I have trouble streaming. I have no idea. I hope that people saw in the chat, I believe, unless Susan wrote just to me, I'm not sure if she did, to include her friends in our prayers. We include all of our loved ones in our prayers for the Mishaberach. Ellen will be leading us in the Mishaberach today, and please do pause between the two paragraphs so that we can say it to ourselves, our loved ones' names. Thank you, Ellen.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor Habracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Thank you, Ellen. Yasher kochech to you. And may all of our prayers be answered with healing. And thank you for leading us in the singing, and tonight for the bat mitzvah class that you and Julia and Debbie and I don't remember if there are any other people teaching, but it's
Toby Holtzman.
Toby Holtzman too. Oh, awesome. So it's really great. And a early mazel tov to all of our women who are going to be celebrating their adult bat mitzvah, and Ellen seeing her vision come to fruition. It's really wonderful. So thank you. So we're up to Psalm 119, this very, very long psalm, which we're actually going to conclude today, because on Shavuot, if you remember, Erev Shavuot, we studied verses 145 to 176 in this. So today we'll take ourselves from 129 to 144, and then the other verses we learned on Shavuot, and we'll finally conclude this Psalm of 119 with its 176 verses. Again, he wrote the psalm, if we say it was King David, in an acrostic. There are several lines for each of the letters of the alphabet. We're up to 129 to 136 for the Pei verses, and then the Tzadi verses 137 to 144. And I think about if there's a theme for the Pei verses. So it starts with the word plaot. A pele is a surprise or an amazement. So we start with God's amazement in our lives. And it was really wonderful. I love we talk about the pre-meeting. At the pre-meeting, we were discussing children and how children are just the most amazing things. Like, I don't have babies in my life anymore. My friends don't have babies. My youngest nephew is 2 almost, and I don't have any babies in my life. But I think back, whenever my own children, who are 16, 14, and 12, come to me, I look at them and I think about when they were babies, when my Cameron, who's now almost 17 in a couple of weeks, when she used to come to services and grab onto me in the minute I finished and held on to me so that no one would take her away from me. And I just think about what that amazement is that this girl is going to be driving soon. So what's most wondrous in our lives is to see this development of a child, these children who they can't speak and suddenly they're talking back to you. And I'm always grateful that they talk, but wow, those days when they didn't talk. So those wonders in our life, the children in our lives. And here they're talking about the edot, the decrees of God are the wondrous. Your decrees are wondrous, God. Rightly do I observe them. So you might wonder, why do I observe all these things? Well, they're wondrous. They're amazing. That's why I'm doing it. Oh, that's why. Okay, then what about the words? And where do we get light lately? The words you inscribed give light and grant understanding to the simple. Now, our world is very dark lately. There's a lot of unrest. I don't need to tell anybody the intolerance that we have, the racism, the tension, the disease, and even the literal darkness, that the days are becoming shorter and there's darkness. So think about, where do you get light in your life? From the words of Torah, from the words that you exchange with each other. And what do we get out of these words? Havana, from Mevin. We get knowledge and understanding. And then we have the verse about our mouths. I open my mouth wide, I pant, longing for your commandments. So some people might see the commandments as a burden, but here it's really something that they're longing for. They just want God's commandments. Turn to me and be gracious to me, as is your rule with those who love your name. I think I cut off a word there. So we turn to God and we want God to be gracious to us. I was reading something today that in this world, we're all dealing with something. Someone posted this on Facebook. So we need to have more grace with each other. We need to have more patience with each other. I feel like grace is not necessarily like a Jewish word, like you hear about grace in churches, but grace is always used. It's chen, that we turn to God for grace and we should turn to each other for grace. I almost, in my idea, see grace as a type of patience as well. So before we were talking about, it's like body parts. First our mouth and now our feet. Make my feet firm through your promise. Do not iniquity dominate me. So I want to be firm in my feet. If you feel firm in your foundation, you could withstand anything. Redeem me from being wronged by a person, that I may keep your precepts. Favor to your servant and teach me your laws. So we realize that not everybody is going to be nice to us, that we're going to be wronged by people, that we're praying that God will redeem us from those wronged people, from being wronged by somebody, that having something against us. But we're going to keep God's commandments, and we're praying that God will favor us. We refer to ourselves as God's servants, and to teach me your laws, that God will, it's not a one-time thing. Teaching is a process, and it continues on, and they want God to continue teaching the laws. So we started with the lips, the feet, and now we get to the eyes. My eyes shed streams of water because people do not obey your teaching. Palgei mayim. So often palgei mayim, the stream of water, is often referred to as like the streams at a river. It's used in other Psalms as well. And just envision that if someone is so intensely crying, it does look like a stream of tears. You can even connect that to the worst feeling is when you see your children crying with such pain, and you, especially those little babies that can't tell you what they're crying about, those little miracles, but they have streams coming down them. And that's when they're in pain. And perhaps the streams of water here in verse 36, these tears, are people are so pained that others aren't observing God's teaching. In my own personal opinion, we should worry about ourselves and not anybody else. But here they're crying because they're upset that other people are not observing. So those were the pei verses. We move on to the tzadi verses. So what are the words that we think of with tzadi? Tzaddik, a righteous person. You are righteous, O Lord, your rulings are just. So we're like buttering God up a little bit. We're complimenting God. You have ordained righteous decrees. They are firmly enduring. So truly, this concept of tzedek, of righteousness, repeats itself. That God is righteous, what God gives us is righteous. And hopefully we will be righteous as well. I am consumed with rage over my foes' neglect of your words. So this goes back to the verses beforehand that I didn't really like, but about 136, the verses where they're crying because other people are not observing God's decrees. And here too, they're consumed with rage. That's like a very intense anger because other people are not observing God's words. Your word is exceedingly pure and your servant loves it. So again, we're referring to ourselves as servants to God and that God's words are pure. Though I'm belittled and despised, I've not neglected your precepts. And you can see there's a type of repetition here. This repetition I see as that there's this tension between other people who don't agree with what we're doing and God's rules, and that we're being belittled and despised. And there's this, I'm looking to see if he uses the word. I was going to say that it's almost an angry feeling from others towards us because we're observing God's commandments. It was repeated before, and this idea is repeated again. But we refer to God again with that word of tzedek, that tzadi dalid kuf root. Your righteousness is eternal. Your teaching is true. I almost feel like between 141 and 142, there was a question asked. All right, if everyone's belittling me and despising me, I haven't neglected it. So why am I doing this? I mean, is it really worth it? And verse 142 says, yes, it's worth it because God's righteousness is forever. God's teaching is true. We have to continue this. And we know this term, Sidkat Tzedek le'olam v'toratcha emet, that the Torah is emes. The emes is the truth. Of course, everyone's truth is different, but Sidkat Tzedek, that it's a is that an alliteration when you repeat the same sound in a way, that Sidkat Tzedek. So this is why we do it, for the tzedek. It's a term that we've heard often recently, the tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Righteousness, righteousness, justice, justice you shall pursue. Though anguish and distress come upon me, your commandments are my delight. Similar to 141, 143, when there's this pain, but we're still doing it. Righteous decrees are eternal. Give me understanding that I may live. So in a way, it's nice that with the letters it's a theme, but it's also very repetitious that tzedek is repeated in nearly not every sentence, but the concept is because tzedek is so important, and it's also the key word of a tzadi letter. And that is where we conclude with that. I thought it was 146. So we end with the concepts. You had to say two words overarching these verses. One is a pele, a surprise, a wonder, and the word of tzedek, and be a tzaddik. So if we can use our wondrous life to be tzaddikim, to be righteous, and to do the right thing, to look for our justice, and to give tzedakah, charity, the world would be a good place to live, that we can move on and give it to the next generation. So those are the verses that we conclude chapter 119, because we did the other verses for Shavuot about Torah. And it's always wonderful learning with everybody. Does anyone have any short comments? And if not, I'm going to turn to Sally, who will be reading our names of our loved ones, the tzaddikim, the righteous people in our life who are no longer with us that we remember today. And when she concludes, if you have a name of a loved one who recently passed or a yurtzeit, please add it. Sally.
Thank you. Today we lovingly remember Evelyn Seelig, Sue Press, Leona Elligberg, Dolores Megan, Phyllis Haas, David Copeland, Louis Hoser, Ivan Stanton, Julie Wynn, Louis Berlin, Hilda Stern, Sylvia Krause, Hope Dellin, Cy Kane, Minna Asserson, Richard Marhit, Lillian Rappaport, Eden Rich, Susan Berman Levine, Avraham Ben Hirsch Lieb, Lillian Tobias, Helen Goldberg, Dr. J. Marlin, Linda Hornick, Donna Spector, Rabbi Ken Roseman, Hannah Rich, Stephen Lazarus, Stephen Carlin, Richard Marek, Doris Kaufman Shaman, Benjamin Zimmerman, Moshe Elazar, Thornton Soup Saperstein, Herb Blue Bars, Allison Stopel Weaver, Harold I. Abramson, Judy Berger, Madeline Saul, Rabbi Micah Kaplan, Nisan Yisrael Ben Yaakov Aryeh, Sarah Bat Abraham, Raymond Raskin, Staff Sergeant Adil Fischler, Raymond Sassoon, Nachman Ben Leah, Devorah Bat Albert Miller, Joan Sitfer, Hannah Bat Shimon Bacarline, Helen Rose, Leah Barker, Robert Thrope, Robbie Cohen, Margot Grossbein, Florence Lotstein, Pinkas Mendel Ben Yaakov Rachel, Joan Steiner, Michael Silverman, Miriam Lehman, Ellen Babbitt, Michael Barr, Waylon Beth Wingen, Lucille Vey, Theodore Fishman, Carol Hope Taub, Michael Ward, David Levy, Howard Gold, Stephen Dorison, Raymond R. Pierce, Charles Gilbert, Rabbi Jeffrey Laynor, Sharon Hope Rothenberg, Seth Tillis, Ruth Ostrow Shivat, Honorable Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Matt Eisner, Rabbi Shlomo Balter, Sherry Litt, Rabbi Rachel Bat-Or, Henry Aaron, Gloria Fischel, Minna Alt Katz, Ann Butler, Leonard Finkelstein, Sybil Belfer, Abraham David Ben Elchanan, and Molly Sherman. Are there any others?
If anyone has a name to add of a loved one who has passed recently that we can add to our continuing list or a yard site.
May the memories be for a blessing.
And once he's buried, we'll begin saying Kaddish for Skylar Logano, a blessed memory. His grandmother, Mary Paddo, and his mother, Emily Logano. We extend deepest condolences to this family who lost, he was 12, Rita? Yeah. Huge loss. I remember when we were saying his name for Misha Baruch. It's the hardest thing when you hear someone's name go from one list to the next. I'll extend our condolences to all. Those who are reciting Kaddish, please rise at this time and unmute yourselves, and also to respond if you can unmute yourself as well. So we unmute ourselves and rise for the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal, Yitzgadash, Shemei, Rabba, Yalma, Yivra, Yerutei, Yamli, Malsukei, Dechayefon, Ubiyomechon, Ubachaye, Bechol, Yisrael, Ba'agala, Ubizman, Hariv, Be'imru, Amen. Yehi, Shmei, Rabba, V'Ra, Le'olam, Ulmei, Omaya. Yitzbarach, Yishtabach, Yitzka'ar, Yitzromam, Yitznatseh, Yitzadar, Yitzaleh, Yitzhalal, Shmei, Tekudashah, La'ela, Inko, Shirchata, Shirata, Tushkata, Emata, Amiran, Yalma, Bimru, Amen. Yehi, Shama, Rabba, Shemaya, Bethayim, Aleinu, Yalko, Israel, Be'imru, Amen. Osed, Shalom,
Na'aseh Shalom.
Aleinu
Aleinu v'al Yisrael.
El
Yimru. Amen.
Amen.
You know, this didn't ring up right at Publix.
Always good to be with everyone. I wasn't sure if that person was going to be talking to us or not, so I hesitated in muting, but it's okay. And I hope that everyone has a good day. And Debbie, all yours.
Thank you, Rabbi. So I hope you all have a pencil or a pen handy, because I have an amazing group of programs that are offered to our members over the next 2 weeks, and I wanted to share them with you. Before I do that, next Tuesday, we are studying Psalm 143, and we would love to have someone teach. So I'm going to ask all of you who have not taught, or maybe have taught once and afraid to step up again. It's 12 lines, and if you would like to teach next Tuesday, Psalm 143, please let Debbie Lempert and Toby Holtzman know. Sign up on Sign Up Genius, or you could probably even email the rabbi and she would put you in. But we need some help on Tuesday, and that would be great if we could get some help. So tonight, we are actually starting the first class of our adult bat mitzvah class, and we want to thank Julia Loeb and Ellen Kaner-Bresnik for leading the way in that. And it's a 3-year program, and they had an orientation last week, and I think there are something like 60 women signed up. So it's terrific, and we're really excited about that. Tomorrow, we have a wonderful program that is co-sponsored by Women's League. And it is, Rabbi, correct me on this. I need some help here. It's sponsored by, let's see.
Jewish Women's International, National Council of Jewish Women, and
Hadassah. And it's
they're
co-sponsored by a lot of other organizations, right? And Women's League is one of them. Okay.
Exactly.
And it is called Jewish Women Vote tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern Time. And the link to register and sign up is on Women's League Week, which came out yesterday. It's going to be a very special celebration of Jewish women's voting. And I think it's going to be a wonderful program, considering the election is like 19 days away. Sunday, we have a Women's League Reads program at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Also, information about the book and the sign up is on Women's League Week, which came out yesterday. And on the 26th, which is a Monday, we're having a workshop for Judaica shop chairs, and it's at night. I think it's 6 o'clock, 6:30. It's on Women's League Week, but it's an opportunity to share and to learn what other women across North America are doing about all of the gift shop, the materials and the Judaica that's in everybody's gift shop that they can't sell because there is no one in the synagogues at this point. So it's an opportunity to share and to possibly learn how we can sell the materials online virtually. It's a really good opportunity for all of the women in Women's League who run their gift shops to get together and to talk about the issues and to solve some challenges.
6:45.
Yeah, it just says 6:45, it says. on the thing.
Thank you, Ann. 6:45 East Coast time. Okay. And on the 29th, we have personal conversations. Going to be a wonderful opportunity for 2 of my favorite young rabbis to discuss LGBTQ and answers to questions about when you come out as gay. So we have some really exciting things happening in the next couple of weeks, and I hope that you will support Women's League and get on these events. And, you know, as I always say, we have opportunities for engagement, for learning, and for sharing, and for being together. So anybody have anything to offer before Audrey gives her